Hi friends, welcome back to our video series Multiplayer Game Development. In the previous video, we saw some of the devices which help us to transfer data from one computer to another computer. So we use different devices like a modem, a router, switch. So these are some of the devices which we use to transfer data from one device to another device. So these are some of the devices which you need to use when we develop a multiplayer game. So that we can transfer the data from one device to another device while we playing the multiplayer game. But how this data is transferred from one device to another device when you talk logically? What are the processes which it need to go through before reaching the destination computer? To understand this concept, we can use a model called OSI model. So OSI model is the used to understand the concepts or the processes which the data has to go through before reaching the final destination. This is also used in other cases, like if you have a issue in reaching that data from one computer to destination computer, and you don't know where is the issue. Okay, so at that cases, this model helps you to understand where could be the issue, why the data is not transferring from the source computer to the destination computer. So the full form of OSI model is Open System Interconnection. So this model is used to find used to represent the different processes which the data has to go through in networking. So this OSI model has got 7 layers. Okay, so this model is represented by 7 layers. First layer is the application layer. Then we have the presentation layer. Then the next one is the session layer. Then we have the transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. From top, for the topmost layer is the application layer. Then we have the presentation layer. Then we have the session layer. Then transport layer. Then we have the network layer. Then we have the data link layer. Then we have got the physical layer. So it depends on whether you are a receiver or you are a sender. So depending on that, you will get the first layer. Okay, which one is the first layer for you? So that depends on whether you are a receiver or you are a sender. So we will just understand what the functionalities of each layer. So we will start from the top. So the topmost layer of the OSI model is the application layer. So in the application layer, we have the different types of protocols. Like if you are using a website called maybe you are using Gmail, Yahoo, or you are using Facebook, or you are using Amazon. So these when you want to purchase, when you want to do an online purchase, you cannot just go to the computer and order an item. So what we have to do first we have to go to a browser like Internet Explorer, we have the Google Chrome. So we have different browsers which we can use. So first we have to open that. Then we have to type the name of the website which you want to visit. For example, Amazon.com. So like that, so these browsers reside in the application layer. So resides means it is not physically staying there. It is using the protocols which we use or which they have to follow for successfully doing their job. Okay, so when you talk about the web browsing, so when you want to browse a web, then you use the HTTP protocol or HTTPS protocol. So when you open a website, you can see on the start there could be HTTP or HTTPS protocols. So these, when you browse a web page, this is the protocol they use. And when you want to transfer a file, then they use the FTP protocol, that is file transfer protocol. So there are different types of protocols which they use for different jobs. Okay, so these protocols are this residing on the application layer. So application layer mainly consists of these browsers which we use. So I hope you understood what is the application, what is the use of application layer. So next we will go to the presentation layer. Okay, so presentation layer comes after the application layer from top. So what are the responsibilities of the presentation layer? So presentation layer mainly used for the converting the data, and it is also used for compressing the data, and it is also for used for encryption and decryption. So when you type a website name or give a instruction to a computer, then you do it in these alphabets, like we have the characters, then we have the numbers. So the computer doesn't understand these characters or numbers, so we have to convert that into binary code, like zeros and ones. So this is the responsibility of the presentation layer to convert this data from the characters and numbers to the zeros and ones. Then after that, before sending a data from the one computer to another computer, it can compress the data. So if you have a data of 5 MB and you want to send that data to another computer, you can compress that data into 2 MB using the different compression methods. So the one advantage of using the compression method or compression is that you can send the data in faster way from your sender computer to the receiver computer, and this compression could be a lossless compression or loss compression. Then we have the another responsibility of this presentation layer is the encryption. So encryption is when you send a data through internet, you don't want this last data to be lost or somebody access that data. So for that, what we do is that we encrypt that data so that no one can understand, and after the receiver accepts that data, it decrypts so that the receiver can understand the message. So main purpose or the main responsibilities of the presentation layer is to convert the data from the characters and numbers to the binary form, like a zeros and one. Then it is used for the compressing the data, and this is also used for encryption and decryption of the data. So next we will see what is the session layer. So session layer is the layer which is responsible for this establishing a connection or session between the two computers. So for example, if you open your Facebook or Amazon, first what they will ask you to log in. So when you give your username and password, so this, and after you click on the login button or submit button, what it does is that it sends this data to the server. And the server checks whether the username or password is correct or not. So if it is not correct, you can see that you will get a message like your username or password is wrong, and you will not be able to access the website. But if the username and password is right, then the server gives you the permission to start a session with that website. So you can get into that website and you can see your timeline, and you can browse through the different products which you want to purchase. So that is the authentication. Then it also does the authorization. Authorization means whether you have got the permission of accessing a particular file or web page. So when you go into a website, it is not necessary that you will be able to access each and every page. So as a user or who is visiting that website, there could be some files or pages which you are not allowed to access. So this is determined by the session layer. Session layer is the layer which gives you the permission to access a particular file or a page. So the main purpose of the session layer is establishing a session between the one computer to another computer, and also it gives the authority of visiting one website, web page or the file. So next layer we are going to discuss about is the transport layer. So the transport layer is the layer which transports data from one port to another port. Okay, so this is the responsibilities of transport layer includes the segmentation. Segmentation means if you have a data, this layer divides this data into smaller segments, okay, so that it can be sent easily. So this layer just divides the data into smaller segments and sends this data to the other computer. So the responsibility of the transport layer is to make sure that this data is sent from one application to the same application of the other computer. Like if you are sending a data from Gmail of one computer, then it could be should open in the Gmail of the receiver's computer. Okay, so like if you are sending from one application, and it should not go and open in some other application. So the transport layer is the layer which makes sure that it just reaches to the correct application of the receiver's computer. To send a data from one computer to another computer, this transport layer uses the two main protocols. One is the TCP and the other one is the UDP. So the main difference between the TCP and UDP are the UDP you cannot give, that won't give you any guarantee that the entire package or the data you are sending will reach to the destination computer. Okay, so that some of the data could be lost when traveling from one computer to another computer. So UDP doesn't give you a guarantee like all the data which you are sending from one computer will reach the destination computer. So the other one, that TCP, gives you a guarantee like whatever data you are sending, it will reach to the destination computer. So that is the main difference between the TCP and the UDP. So TCP give you the feedback of whether it is reached successfully from the receivers, from the sender's computer to the receiver's computer. But UDP doesn't give you any feedback like that. It may reach the destination successfully, or it may not reach. So that is the difference between TCP and UDP. So when you talk about these two protocols, some of the examples which we can give is like when you are transferring a movie or a song, then you can send it by UDP, because UDP doesn't give you guarantee, but it will reach there faster than TCP. So if you want to send a data in faster way, so far the speed is your priority, then you can use the UDP protocol. But when you are sending a mail, then if you are sending an important mail, it is not good that you lose some of the data. So in that cases, you can use the TCP protocol. In this TCP protocol, it gives you the feedback like whether this data, the entire data is reached to the receiver's computer successfully or not. So that is the some of the protocols which this transport layer uses while sending the data from one computer to another computer. Then the another functionality of the transport layer is the speed at which this data is transferred. So if for example, if you are getting the data from a server and to your mobile, and your mobile, it sends the data in a particular speed, maybe for example 1 MB per second or 5 MB per second. So it is sending, the server is sending the data in that speed to your mobile. But your mobile cannot process that much data at a time. Like it cannot process the 5 MB per second of data in your mobile. Then you have to tell the server like, please slow down the speed of the transmission. Okay, so at that case, this is the duty of the transport layer to send the data to the server, that to slow down the speed at which that server is sending the data. So according to the speed in which that mobile can manage, this transport layer sends the data in that speed. Okay, so that is the another functionality of transport layer. So the main functionalities of the transport layer is the how this data is sent from one application to another application, and which protocols are used to send the data from the sender to the receiver, and what is the speed that should maintain when the data is sent from the server to your device, depending on the data you can manage, your mobile can manage at a time. So according to that, it will adjust the speed by which the data is sent. Next layer of the OSI model is the network layer. So in the network layer is the layer which sends the data from one computer to another computer. So how a data is sent from one computer to another computer. So you can see that when you send a data, this data is sent to one router. Then after that, it goes to the some other router in another network, and the data reaches your computer. Then how this network layer determines where there are thousands or lakhs of computers are there in the internet. Then how this network layer determines which data is sent to which computer. So for that, the network layer uses a address called IP address. So when in all the computers which is there in the internet, each and every computer has got an IP address. So this is like our mail address. When you send a letter to someone in another country or another district, then you have the address of the receiver. So that using that address, that postman sends this letter to your receiver. So this is the address which helps the postman to reach to the receiver. So just like that, when you send a data from one computer to another computer, this computer has got the IP address, and this receiver also has got the IP address. So using this IP address, this data is sent from the sender to receiver. So this is the duty of the network layer, where the data is sent from one computer to another computer. So next we will see what is the data link layer. So data link layer is the layer which this makes sure that the data is sent from one node to another node. So when you send a data, when you type something and send a data to another computer, first you are going to send the data to the router. Okay, so this is the responsibility of the data link layer. Okay, so which one, so how to reach from one point to another point. So after from your computer, it reaches, make sure that it reaches the next router, and from that router it makes sure that it reaches the next router. Then after that, that router reaches to the recipient's computer, then delivers the data. So the main purpose of the data link layer is the transmission of the data from one node to another node. Okay, so that is the main purpose of data link layer. Bottommost layer of the OSI model is the physical layer. So what is the physical layer? So the physical layer is where your all the cable work is done. So when you connect the computers using these cables, okay, so and we connect that computer to a switch or plug. Okay, so these things, all the physical things like this cabling, this connecting to a switch, all these plugs, everything comes under the physical layer. So you can say that this is the how a data is transferred from the switch to the your computer. Like it goes in a binary way, so data is transferred in bits. So this physical layer is where all the cabling or the other physical items are situated. So that is in the physical layer. So I hope you got the idea of what is the OSI model. So OSI model is the, you can say, a conceptual structure of how a networking is done, how a data is sent from one computer to another computer. Like after you send a data from your server or from your computer, which process is it goes through before it reaches the destination computer. So I hope you understood the OSI model. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much.